Cruise along mountain roads, past breathtaking cliffs and unreal rock formations. Colorado is built for road trips, and I'm counting down my top 5 campervan destinations you won't want to miss. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Narrowing Colorado down to just 5 stops isn't easy because the state is packed with mile after mile of incredible scenery. But I'll share the top 5 places that stood out to me, along with tips on where to overnight in a camper, where to eat, and how to avoid those peak time crowds. First up is Rocky Mountain National Park. So if you're camping, Glacier Basin Campground is one of the best bases. It's inside the park, right near the Bear Lake Corridor, the busiest but one of the most beautiful parts of the park. It takes small to mid-size vans up to about 30 feet, and you have to be a bit self-contained here, at least for the night, as there are no hookups and no dump station. But you do get amazing alpine views, and you're right in the Bear Lake area. If you're looking for a hotel, then Estes Park has many options. So here's how I recommend doing Rocky Mountain National Park. Arrive in Estes Park, which is on the east side, late afternoon, the day before your main day in Rocky Mountain National Park, and do a part of the park that evening and then the bulk of it the next day. Here's what we did. We arrived late afternoon, evening into Estes Park and had dinner. We found a spot we loved called Bird and Jim. It serves local food, which was delicious, and very close to the Rocky Mountain National Park entrance. We then headed into the park about half an hour after the Bear Lake timed entry ends, which is 6 p.m. in the summer. Around 6:30 or 7 p.m., you'll find almost no lines at the gates, and you can often drive right up to the Bear Lake parking lot. And as you can see, many spots are available. If you come here at peak times, you'll have to wait in line to get into the park and then to get into the Bear Lake area, and likely park far away and shuttle into Bear Lake area. So take the evening to hike around Bear Lake, which is an easy 0.8 mile loop, or head to one of the other trailheads to see Nymph, Dream, or Emerald lakes if you're up for a longer hike and have daylight to spare. Once done at Bear Lake, it's a nice drive back to the campground inside Rocky Mountain National Park or Estes Park if you're staying there. The next morning, get up early before the timed entry kicks in and drive Trail Ridge Road. You'll have the park nearly to yourself, and sunrise over the mountains is spectacular. Keep an eye out for elk or moose, and stop at overlooks on the way up. This is the highest continuous paved road in the U.S. It rises to over 12,000 feet and crosses the Continental Divide. Once at the top, make a quick stop at the Alpine Visitor Center. If you start early, the center itself may not be open yet, but that's fine. The stop is still worth it for the views. From there, continue across the summit and down the quieter west side of the park toward the park exit and Grand Lake. That's it. That wraps up Rocky Mountain National Park. Now on to destination number 2. Second on the list is the $1 Million Highway. This is a 25-mile stretch of U.S. Route 550 between Ouray and Silverton. It was built in the late 1800s, winds through the San Juan Mountains with no guardrails in many places, and is considered one of the most scenic drives in the U.S. I would agree. As you can see, it's amazing. Starting in Ouray, the town itself is surrounded by towering cliffs, and the amphitheater campground is a great overnight option. Make sure to drive down Main Street to get a feel for the town. We stopped at Timberline Deli for some homemade donuts and coffee. Heading south out of Ouray, make time for Box Canyon Falls. It's a quick and inexpensive stop with some cool waterfalls you can get right up close to. way to Silverton, the highway clings to cliffs with breathtaking drop-offs, tunnels, and constant views. This goes on for miles. It's stunning. Stop to check out waterfalls, wildlife, and of course the view. Silverton is a classic Old West town with a cool main street and nearby campgrounds. Once you arrive, you can check out shops, the San Juan County Historical Society, or the Silverton Visitor Center before heading on your way. And that's it for the $1 Million Highway. The third Colorado must-see is the Great Sand Dunes National Park. Approaching the dunes, they almost look unreal. Giant sand peaks backed by the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. Pinion Flats Campground inside the park puts you right at the base of the dunes where you can literally walk straight out onto the sand. In spring and early summer, Medano Creek runs along the base and it's perfect for cooling off. The visitor center is worth a stop, and after exploring the dunes and on the way out, grab food at the Oasis restaurant and store just outside the entrance. It's simple, but it hits the spot after hiking the dunes. We didn't spend a ton of time here, but definitely worth a visit to see. Fourth on the list is one I've been to several times, Garden of the Gods. The red rock formations here rise straight out of the ground, framed perfectly by Pikes Peak in the distance. It's so different than most other places you'll see, it's a must-see. My best tip here, go early. The park opens at 5 a.m., and if you arrive around sunrise, you'll practically have it to yourself. Enter from the east on Gateway Road. Stop at the main parking lot to walk among the formations like Kissing Camels and Pulpit Rock. Continue driving through the park to see Balance Rock and Steamboat Rock, and stop at the trading post before heading out. For overnighting, Manitou Springs is just down the road, a beautiful town and a perfect base between Garden of the Gods and our number 5 destination. So last but certainly not least, number 5, Pikes Peak. Driving to the summit at over 14,000 feet is equal parts excitement and, for me, fear. But that's just my issue with heights. The drive is awesome. Some of the switchbacks I had to slow down to 5 or 10 miles per hour for, but the views are worth it. If you're driving up the mountain, you will need a timed entry pass, so reserve yours as early in the morning as you can, and you'll cruise right in. I had my reservation for 8 a.m., and you can see there were only about 2 cars in front of me. I was in the line for about 5 minutes. Here is the same entrance later in the day, so best to avoid this. On the way up, you'll pass forests, alpine lakes, and incredible overlooks. As mentioned, the drive is not for the faint of the heart. At times, I couldn't see the ground in front of me and to the right of me, but it was fun and well worth it. Once you reach the top, the newly rebuilt Summit Visitor Center is a great place to eat, warm up, and take in the scenery. And you can check out the Cog Railroad train with the friendly conductor when you're there. Stop by the famous Pikes Peak sign to get a pic to prove to everyone you were there. And just generally soak up the scenery at the top. Once ready to head back down, make sure to shift into low gear so you don't burn up your brakes. And that's it for Pikes Peak. And that's it for the video. Those are my top 5 campervan destinations in Colorado. Rocky Mountain National Park, the $1 Million Highway, the Great Sand Dunes National Park, Garden of the Gods, and Pikes Peak. Each has its own character, and together they make for an unforgettable adventure. If you have other great Colorado destinations, let me know, share in the comments, and stay tuned for more travel and camper van build videos. Thanks for watching.
Yay, vans!